East side. How you doing? It's cold out there. -4, 3 in Liverpool on the 10th of Jan, 2025. I listened to a podcast by Blind Boy, who's an Irish podcaster. He's really good on lots of different things, mental health, politics, well-being. And I listened to his podcast the other day and he raised some interesting points, which I'm going to mention. And I'm going to add a few little nuances of my own as well. But this fits into Stoicism, which I talk a lot about. And many people think Stoicism is about like denying your emotions, but it's not. It's about acknowledging emotions and saying, like, there's an emotion, and that can lead to a mood. And moods are quite absurd. They're evolutionary necessities, aren't they? But emotions and moods, they're kind of there to do a job, as it were. So, for example, if you're feeling a bit anxious, you might want to like keep away from danger and, be a little bit wary of things. And these kind of things about like being happy around people and wanting to feel more happy around people and feeling relaxed. In nature, it was important that we had emotions and moods to help us navigate these kind of things. But emotions and moods, you could argue that they're not really good or bad. It's just how we interpret them. And I think the idea of stoicism, and one of the things Blind Boy said, is when you're having a good or a bad emotion, try to sit with it for a bit. Obviously, if you've got like someone attacking you, you need to deal with that situation if there's a crisis going on. But generally speaking, try to note and watch your emotions and your moods and think what's going on there. I sometimes get in a mood and get a bit lost in it. And I did something recently called the hot cross bun cycle, where you look at the thoughts, the emotions, the bodily sensations, and the behavior. It's like a hot cross bun, like a diamond. And hot cross bun's more across. But it's about looking at how you feel when there's an emotion going on, because you sometimes get trapped in the emotion, and that helped me to understand it. I also have looked at a few other things recently, which I've found very helpful in analysing my mood. And one of them is the three circles. I forget what it's called now, but you've got like red circle, which is like anger, anxiety stuff. Then you've got a blue circle, which represents your drives, things that you want to do. And then you've got the green circle, which is about how you relax and restore your energy and just feel good and in the present moment. And life obviously is about all three being important, but you shouldn't be in the red or the blue too much. People on the deathbed never say, "Oh, I wish I'd have worked more," etc. They always say, "I wish I'd have spent more time with family and friends and doing new experiences and things I enjoy." So think about that. Are you in the red, the emotional kind of regular, yeah, like fight or flight, those kind of things, which are important at times. The drives, which things we want to achieve, which is important at times, and the green, which is our relaxation and re-energizing, which is also important. But can't for the life of me remember what it was, but I've been reading about it. But they're two very useful tools I've found to look at emotions and what I'm feeling at this time to say, right, what circle am I in? Is it okay to be in the blue circle right now or the red circle? Maybe you're feeling really ill and you feel in the red circle. That's okay, but just be mindful of which circle you are in. I've actually got it to hand, so I'm going to tell you what that is because I've forgotten, even though I read it last night. It's called the three circles of emotional regulation. So you've got the red circle, the blue circle, the green circle. And if you're listening and I haven't got the visual, my apologies, but it's called the three circles of emotional regulation. Check that out as a tool of analysis. So sit with your emotions, observe them, what's going on. Try not to react and make things worse. Equally, when you're excited, don't try and go too over the top. Enjoy it, but maybe don't go crazy, if you know what I mean. Although it's nice to go a bit mad sometimes. Um, Again, all of this was useful in evolution, but it doesn't always help us when we're feeling constantly angry or anxious or that we need to be achieving things all the time, which is what kind of our nervous systems are kind of exposed to on a daily basis in this kind of hyperstimulation society and this idea of wealth, 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 the pursuit of wealth. So just things to be mindful of. How can you do this? Well, you can be mindful and think about it, but before that, you might want to journal about your emotions and what you're feeling, what's going on. Use the hot cross bun thing to analyze a particular emotion. And then true wisdom is when you don't need to write it down, but you go, I'm going through this at the moment. What do we need to do? So, for example, yesterday I had a day where I just felt a bit lost in the afternoon, like, oh, what am I doing with my life and all that. And then in the evening, I felt great. And it's good to have those little nagging doubts because it gets you thinking about things like, am I doing the right thing? But obviously, you don't want that to dominate all the time. So it's a funny thing, mood. And sometimes our negative emotions and our negative moods, they're sending us a message. It's about saying, like, what's the message I'm getting from those things? So check out the emotional, forgot it again. I'm going to check it. These circles of emotional regulation and the hot cross bun thing, do some journaling, but get mindful, start thinking about this and find your own way. People tell you things all the time, but you've got to find your own way through journaling and then through practice in reality, as it were. How can you become better? How can you become better? Now, another good way of regulating emotions is watching what you like in a situation where there's a queue or something, or someone's walking slowly in front of you. If you're in the supermarket and someone is walking slowly with their trolley. And I remember a Facebook group many years ago called I Silently Want to Hit Someone Who Walks Slowly on the Back of the Head, which was interesting. But if you go shopping and you're in a social situation or you're driving and there's a bit of a delay or whatever, what are you like then? Yeah, we're all busy and we need to get places, but what are you like in that situation? Can you actually do anything different to make the situation better by getting angry and wound up and upset and tense? Why live life like that over things like that? Getting angry with someone who's driving slowly, is it going to get you to your destination any faster? So again, that's where wisdom comes in and thinking about what you should be doing moment to moment. Now, this is a big one for me. I left TikTok a few months ago because they started sending me Tommy Robinson messages to try and get me to go on because I wasn't staying on it very long. I was only using it for advertising. And I've left X because literally it's run by a Bond villain. And now Facebook has stopped its verification of facts and stuff, like all bowing down to Trump as if it's like, Germany in the 1930s and everyone's bloody terrified of him. Pathetic. So think about what you're doing with your day and where you're getting your information from, and whether you're engaging with algorithms which are trying to wind you up and get you emotional and aggravated, because negative emotions and positive emotions, when they're laid on thick, you get wound up by them and you get excited by them, and then you're more likely to use that platform. So think about what you're going on and thinking, is that actually good for me? And a few things I've done recently is I've blocked a few people and I've left a few groups where I just don't want to engage with people who make me feel negative about life and the world. Yeah, I want to be informed, but I'll do that without getting messages from people who are sending racist messages as if it's a joke. Like, no, just go away. I don't want to look at that or be exposed to that kind of nonsense. So cut yourself off from negative things in your life that aren't serving you, that you feel are upsetting your balance and homeostasis, as it were. So think about social media. I think social media is becoming literally some kind of Bond villain-esque kind of reality where far right and alt-right opinions are just popularized and shared without any evidence base. We can talk about on the left, people getting cancelled for saying that there's males and females or whatever, where people can take things a bit too far. But we're literally talking about threats to democracy and human rights and just a world where there's at least some level of sanity. And I'm very, very concerned about that. When you're hearing like people in the opposition in the UK kind of parroting things that people like Elon Musk are saying online because, oh, that's good, that might get us some votes, that might get us in. And even worse, for ideological reasons or benefits to themselves. That's truly terrifying. So we've got threats within our own systems, but we've also got threats outside. The influence of Russia on British elections and people like Musk and Trump and them trying to bully and intimidate people all over the world. Like there's so many other things that we could be speaking about, but watch what you're looking at, watch what you're reading and think, does this serve me? What's the agenda of the person writing it? Don't get wound up by it if necessary. Cut yourself off from things. Just like you might need to cut yourself off from people who are negative influences, while still acknowledging that there are people who are downsides who you'll have to work with from time to time, including yourself. You are the greatest contradiction and mix. So, as it says in the Bible, it's easy to criticize others when you've got a huge chip of wood in your own eyes. They phrase it slightly differently, but work on yourself and then you can take good actions into the world by engaging with others. Because at the end of the day, the human project, I think it's important. I've got a 5-year-old son, and I think we've all got a stake in the world. So, watch your emotions, think about what you're doing day to day, get better. Use tools, psychological tools like the hot crossbone, and I forgot it again. The three circles, terrible. I'm 47 and my mind's going. It's behind me on that part there, but I don't want to turn around for the third time. But at least I'm open about the fact that my memory is in decline. Um, but yeah, use tools that help you, journaling, and then take that into the real world. Think about what you're watching and what you're accessing, and let's do better in the world, folks. We can do better than what's going on at the moment, can't we? Take it easy, look after yourselves.